Welcome to another Back of the Net recording. This is to help you with the work out an estimate question. Before we start any of the questions on the estimate question, we need to be clear about one thing. Whenever you're asked to estimate in this type of question, they always want you to be working to one significant figure. One sig fig. That means you're just going to take it to the nearest possible one digit, or one digit that isn't zero, number, and work from that. So the calculation itself is quite easy, and you do actually get 3 marks relatively straightforwardly. The other thing we must learn before we start doing this is a little bit of cheat, and it is that if we divide by 0.2, that's exactly the same as timesing by 5. If we want to divide by 0.5, that's exactly the same as timesing by 2. If we want to divide by 0.1, that is the same as timesing by 10. And there's some tips there. It's sort of like 2 times 5 would be 10, 0.2 times 5 would be 1, 0.5 times 2 would be 1, 2 0.5s are 1, and 10 0.1s are also 1. So you've got to work out that they can always end up with a 1. The reason we learn that is, always in the exam, if you have to divide by a decimal, it will be 0.2, 0.5 or 0.1. And that's often the bit that most students find difficult. They'll end up simplifying this and having to divide by 0.5, and that's where they get stuck. But if you've learnt this before you go in, divide by 0.5, I'm just going to times by 2 instead, you've got this problem absolutely solved. Not difficult. Okay, so let's tackle this question here first of all. The first thing I do is I rewrite the question, but rounding to one significant figure. So my 19 is going to become, or 19.2, the nearest one significant figure to that is 20. My 0.8, the nearest significant figure to that, one significant figure to that, is 1. So that's going to be 1. And let's not forget, it was a times. And that's divided by, well, 0.48, my nearest single significant figure to that is going to be 0.5. That's now my calculation, and I go ahead and work with that. So 20 times 1 is 20, divided by 0.5. This is a slightly simple example because we've got the 1 there. But in terms of a mark scheme, substituting each of those correctly, or rounding each of those correctly, has got you 1 mark. Getting to this stage has got you the second mark. We've now got to do 20 divided by 0.5. Now you might like to say how many 0.5s in 20, how many halves in 20, or we can just go back to our fact over here that divide by 0.5 is times 2. So instead of dividing by 0.5, I can say that's 20 times by 2, which equals 40. And that's my answer. For those of you that are saying how many 0.5s in 20, how many halves in 20, obviously they're 40. So we've got our answer that way as well. But that is the answer. That's the question done. This bit here is on the tracing paper revision poster thing, so you do need to get learning that. Okay, I'm going to move the board on. Here's one for you to have a go at. I've not included the division in this one just to get you started. You have a go at it. Press pause now. Welcome back. Okay, it's an estimate, so I'm just going to work to one significant figure. 3.9 to one significant figure is 4, times by 102 to one significant figure will be 100. You've got 1 mark for doing that rounding. We've now got 4 times 100 equals 400. That's your second mark. Overall 2 marks. Pretty straightforward question that. We have a little motto here, and it is that clever dicks don't score. Don't be clever and try and say, well, 4 times 102, I can do that. 4 times 102 would be 408. They're looking for you to do that rounding, so do the rounding and get it there. Okay, don't try and be too clever with that bit there. Clever dicks don't score the points. They want you rounding to the one significant figure. Here's another one for you. Have a go, press pause. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to do this one for you quickly. 31 becomes 30. The 4.92 looks terribly complicated. Actually, that's nearest to 5 as a single, as one significant figure. 0.21 will be 0.2. This is actually an exam question used before, and notice how, believe it or not, it's that 0.2 that I spoke about before. We need to look back to our revision poster for that to remember that dividing by 0.2 in a minute will be the same as times it by 5. So I've got 1 mark so far. Next stage, 30 times 5, 3 times 5 is 15, and the 0 divided by 0.2. That's my second mark stage. I've got 2 marks so far, and now I've got to say that's the same as 150 times by 5. That's where you're going to do your next stage. Well, 5 times 100 will be 500. 5 50s is 250, which should give us 750. Just be sure about that, where you've got each of your marks from there. The first one you've got from rounding to one significant figure. The second one you've got for doing a little bit of calculation first of all, there. And the third one you've got for finishing it off. 3 marks, very easy to get in the exam. Okay, another one for you. Press pause now. Welcome back. Okay, again this is going to be a slightly more simple one. 27 will be 30, 52.9. Don't be trying to round to the 52, just go straight for the 50. 30 times 50, well, you should be able to do that, but 3 times 5 would be 15. So 3 times 30 would have been 150, 3 times 50 would be 1,500. That's a proper way. Other people say 3 times 5, 15, 2 zeros. Okay, that'll only be worth 2 marks there. One for doing your rounding to one significant figure, and then the second one for actually working out what it is. Okay, another question for you. This would be a 3-pointer. I'm sure you know why it is now. Press pause. Welcome back. Okay, this one's going to be 7 times by 20 divided by 0.5. If that's as far as you get in an exam, that's 1 mark. Well done. But let's actually try and do it. 7 times 2 is 14, so that's going to be 140 divided by 0.5. Well, dividing by 0.5 is the same as timesing by 2. So it's going to be 140 times 2, which of course is going to be 280. Job done. Second mark was there. Third mark was there. Very easy marks to get. Last one for you. Have a go at this and I'll talk you through it. Okay, welcome back. Press pause if you didn't and try now. Welcome back again. Okay, it's really, because they've got tins of paint and names doing it and how many, you think you're going to have to be accurate because you actually want to know what it is. You haven't. Just do an estimate. It is only an estimate. Stick to your one significant figure. So £4.87, that's going to be £5. 19 tins, that's almost 20. One significant figure, it is 20. So your estimate is going to be 5 times 20. 5 times 2 is the 10, add the 0. Well, £25 notes is 100, we know it's right. The estimate is £100. Dead simple. I believe that's all for estimate calculation. Indeed it is. Thank you for listening. I hope that's been useful to you, and hope you come back for another back of the net video soon.